Good afternoon, chaps. It is the most beautiful, beautiful day. It's like 25 degrees, there's not a breath of air, and we're at Kew Gardens. Hello! Yeah, October has been unbelievable so far. Look at that sky for October. And it's so hot, but this looks like it's going to be the last day of it. So instead of working or doing things at home, I just decided I'm coming to Kew for the day. Why not? It's only 10 minutes up the road and I have not been here enough this year. It's been ridiculous, actually. I think I've probably been here 4 times this year. That's it. And I'm not kidding when I say it's 10 minutes up the road. Anyway, I'm here mainly to have a look at the vegetable gardens, but I'm having a bit of a stroll through first. And this, I believe, is a kiwi, which is what I wouldn't pay $22.95 for last week. But I am having slight regrets. Boy, is it hot in here. Whew. Yeah, like I say, weather is about to change and I'm quite interested to go and have a look at what they've actually got going on in there. Not only the vegetable patch, but what the student gardens are looking like. Because we came really early in the spring, I don't know if you remember. And I said, oh, we'll come back and have a nose around when it's in peak season. I just didn't seem to have the time to get back here, which is crazy. But anyway, we are here today, so we'll see what they've still got going. But before we head over to the main vegetable patch, I'm going to go to the secret allotment. So this up until the lockdown, this was just a derelict bit of space along here. This is right by Lion Gate, and you have to climb through some trees to get to it. But over lockdown, they turned this into like a working allotment area. It's not on the map or anything. I discovered it completely by chance. This is right next to Lion Gate, which is the little tiny entrance that's nearest to my house. So I was just stumbling along here through the trees and found it. I'm very pleased to say they've got a polytunnel now, which they didn't have last year. But you see, it's a huge space. They've got loads of stuff going to seed over there. They've got tomatoes in hanging baskets. I don't know who uses this space. Like it's not obviously part of the thing, but they've got loads of sheds now and you can see how big it is. It goes all the way down there. It's an amazing space. Fortunately, I can't get up there because it's just dense trees now. I used to be able to peer in, but then they've obviously done quite a lot of work to it recently because it never used to look quite that organised. I'll see if I can get hold of somebody and see if we can actually go in and have a proper look at it sometime. But talking of organised, let's go down and have a look at their proper vegetable garden. And here she is. I'm pleased to say they've still got quite a lot going on. I thought they might have, started ripping things out and we were too late. But no, it still looks pretty busy. I still don't think it looks quite so beautiful as it used to do with all their lovely little grass paths. But still, I understand. They had to change it. Ooh. Now, this is something I've never been brave enough to do, is grow basil outside. But look at the size of that. It's so lush. It's about 40 centimetres tall. Can you tell me, does anybody or any of you grow basil successfully outside? Other than Kew Gardens, obviously, but I don't think I'm going to use them as a comparison. And not just the big leaf basil either. There's this absolute beauty, which is Greek basil that almost looks like a small leafed hebe. But I can tell you the sun is on it right now and the smell is so intense. I think I'm going to have a go at that one next year as well. It's been on my list for quite a long time. So talking of changes to this vegetable garden, this is something I've noticed they've started doing a lot more of, which is like these little sort of sample, rather than it being one functioning vegetable garden, which is sort of more what I prefer. They're doing all like these little bits, although something that is nice to see here is that their pak choi has also been completely obliterated by the slugs. Way! I am not alone. Excellent. Yeah, but this bed is so bitty. To be fair, it mainly looks like calendula on the rampage, but these are cute. These little pumpkins. And the beans are drying off really nicely. I find with these sample patches, though, that they never include variety labels, which is quite frustrating. There's a chard in there. Of course, there's a chard in there. Talking of chard, chaps, actually, this garden is where I first laid eyes on the peppermint chard. It must have been 2 years ago now, maybe even 3. And it was just so beautiful. None of these are particularly huge, to be honest, and this year no labels, no variety labels, which is, although this one we can clearly identify as the pink beauty of peppermint. But yeah, there's obviously rhubarb chard in there and a bit of a bright lights mix. But where's your labels, Kew? Right, tomatillo label, what's this one? Verdi. Quite nice, it almost looks like a trailing one. My tomatillos did absolutely nothing this year. Just started flowering now, so obviously not too much fruit coming along there. Seems it's about to get cold, but this one's very beautiful. It's gorgeous and it's covered in bees. They've obviously had the blight sweep through here because this is the only tomato that they have standing, although it's a beauty. It's obviously blight resistant, but I hate to say it, but again, there's no label, so I can't tell you what variety it is, but it's gorgeous. And they're getting their stuff ready for next year. We've got mooly. These are beetroot in here. What variety? They've got variety names on these, which is quite good. Oh, hello. I've just been looking at my celeriac up at the allotment thinking, oh, it's looking really good this year. Well, I can tell you it does not look as good as this. That has put me to shame. Talking of shame, do you remember last time we were here, we were talking about the mushrooms and all the different varieties they had laid out? Well, apparently they've all been got by the badgers. Pants. Blooming badgers. They're everywhere. The dedicated brassica bed is looking incredibly handsome over there, all covered up. The pumpkins, look at those, don't they look beautiful? But something we have missed is the student beds. So these are the individual student plots that the people who are actually at the Kew Academy have. But obviously it's run academic year to academic year, so it would have been cleared for September. So I should have known they would be empty. But look at this, they've left their grapes on here. Considering the excitement that I had for my grapes this year, this is just an abomination. Anyway, I'm going to head out of this incredibly beautiful chunky gate onto Kew Green. And talking of grapes, I'm going to go and find some, well maybe not grapes. Let's go for apples. We're going to go and find some apples. And I will see you back up the allotment tomorrow. Cheers, chaps. Definitely got the most out of the last sunny, warm days of the summer, even though it's halfway through October. They were beautiful, so hot, but I tell you what, it has come crashing down now and we are full on October weather. It has been raining for the last 24 hours roughly. There's been a break in the weather and so I've raced up to the allotment to see what we can do in the time. I may be rained off fairly shortly. It's definitely looking ominous over there. Bringing you into the shed proper, the wind is picked up, so you're probably getting noises into the camera microphone. Sorry about that. Anyway, I thought what we would do is have a bit of a look around at what is still going, because it is Friday today. We've got today, we've got tomorrow and Sunday. There is word that we're going down to 1 degree and that there's going to be widespread frost across the UK in general, but London is listed in that as well. So just as I'm saying that, the sun has come out. Weather's just out to mess with me, I swear. But I thought we'd just have a quick look, because things like, if we do get that frost, like things like the dahlias, the courgettes, the pumpkins and stuff, all of that will just go in an instant, and all we will be left with is basically brassicas on the plot. So I thought now is the time. Seems I didn't do a September plot tour and I haven't done an October look, so I think it's probably due. We won't do a full scale look at the whole plot, just go around and have a look at bits and pieces like the dahlias, for example, because we lost a lot of our dahlias last year and we weren't sure which ones would come back, and we got some plans for them, so just looking at things which are definitely going to go in the next couple of days. One of the first things to be going will be these dwarf French beans. They're looking a bit ropey already. We don't normally grow dwarf ones because we find them a real pain to pick, but something else about them is that they suffer really badly with inconsistent watering and you get these curly beans, and Mum finds the curly beans really creepy, so which isn't ideal. And these plants haven't been any more inconsistently watered than the few of our climbing ones which did actually survive, but the climbing ones are just so much more resilient. I mean, you can see how much happier and lusher the plants are, and they've had the same conditions as the little dwarf ones. They just look really healthy. The beans are perfect. They don't tend to curl in a drought, and I mean, look at that, they're so beautiful. It's so gorgeous, and they're just so much easier to pick. As you can probably tell, I am a much bigger fan of the climbing French beans than I am the dwarf ones, but we had so many troubles this year getting the climbing ones to start. Firstly, we had terrible germination, as you'll remember me moaning about, and then the ones that did germinate, and we got them outside and they got slugged. And the one advantage that the dwarf ones do have over the climbing ones, other than not having to have a structure to climb up, is that there's a much shorter fruiting time. So between you sowing them and actually being able to pick the beans is so much shorter than for the climbing ones, because the plants themselves don't have to put on that much growth before they start producing flowers. The dwarf ones were a very good cover, but I just think the climbing French beans, particularly the cobra bean, is just such a superior plant. As I was saying, the moment we get a whisper of frost, all of these dahlias will go. This is one of the ones that we managed to rescue from the bed. It was just like mush, but there was a little tiny bit of growth, but normally it would be about this high. It's only about half height this year. But the fact that it survived at all seems a bit of a miracle, so we will leave it in and hope that it comes back to full strength next year. We've got two of these beautiful happy singles, but they're shorties. The ones that we're planting in the beds we want for cut flower, and these are no good for cut flowers, so we've got two of them in the beds. We're going to take those little short ones out and get them in the flower border next to the pond over there. So not going to get rid of them, they are absolutely stunning, but they're no good for cut flower. And the things that we've got in the raised bed, we really want to be like a productive crop. So even if it is just for cut flower, it's still productive. Whereas these happy singles, which were another one we rescued from last year, are beautiful and tall and lovely and make great cut flower, as does this one, another rescue. But we have space for 6 more tall dahlias. And so I'm going to go through my records and see if I can remember what all these are called so we don't double anything up. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. All survived from that horrific winter last year. The bed down here, we have 2 new ones, and this one I just haven't been that impressed with. It's a good height and the flower stems are long enough, but they're really just, they're a bit nothingness. Do you know what I mean? Like, the flowers aren't particularly bright, they're not particularly strong shaped, and they're just flimsy. Just a bit like, you know, you go to put them in the vase, they're not enormously impactful, and they're just a bit floppy. Again, it's possible it just had a bit of a rough year, so we'll leave it in and see what it's like next year. If it's the same, it's going to be out into the flower bed. And this is the other shorty chap, which will be going in. I mean, it's beautiful. Oh, I didn't mean to rip it, but it's beautiful. Look at that. But just no good for cut flower. A lot of the stuff that's over the arches will be going. This is a cucumber and a tromboncino, which are all kind of mixed in together. You can see we have a tromboncino here. We kind of reached our limit on the tromboncinos. There's another one down here. We were picking them really small when they were young and tender, but they just escaped us in the end. Yeah, I think realistically 1 tromboncino plant is enough for us. Similarly, as the tromboncinos and the cucumbers, the courgettes will finally go. Obviously these ones are looking incredibly sad because the badgers keep turfing them out and have to keep burying their roots, which obviously isn't the ideal growing conditions. It's such a shame because they just look like they're sort of recovering. Look, we're just getting a whole new flush of beauties in there. I mean, there's one on here which will be pickable, which is good. But yeah, they will go the moment we get that cold. But a bit like the tromboncinos, we will be growing less of them next year. I mean, we grew more courgettes than we expected because we had unexpected variety additions quite late on when I'd already started some off. So these are in their final stages. Mum has brought in the majority of the rest of the squash. So you know we had all the pumpkins like resting out on that mesh. Well, once the rain started, Mum moved them into the greenhouse and she picked 2 of the butternut squashes, but we've actually got a couple more that I probably need to take off today. There's this guy here. They're quite squat, these ones. I don't know what variety they were. Normally butternuts are quite elongated. You can see that. It's more like, it's a bit of a butch butternut squash, and we've got another one over there in the corner. Couple of crown prints down this end. This one's a really good size, actually. That's a beauty. Get that one in. But the two butternuts that are in here, like these are the more of a butternut shape, but they're diddy. Absolutely tiny. What else will we lose the moment the weather drops? Oh, the nasturtiums. We've had some gorgeous nasturtiums this year. They've grown brilliantly. These are all self-seeded, a complete mix of stuff. So we've got like the classic orange, we've had some really deep red ones and some mustardy ones. But they're always a big one when they go, when that first frost hits, because they cover everything. Like, look how lush they look in the fruit cage. Look at that, it's beautiful. But yeah, so it's just, and then obviously when they all collapse in the frost, the smell of nasturtium is like overwhelming. Something else we're saying goodbye to are the achocha plants. As you can see, I mean, they're very tender and their leaves are just too delicate to cope with the frost, which is a real shame because we've got so many coming on there. But I have saved seed. I had enough of a harvest to save seed for next year, so I'm pretty chipper. And I'll get them started earlier next year. Had a couple of people asking how those giant ones tasted actually, and they were delicious. We had them stuffed with like Moroccan lamb mince. And yeah, they were super yum, really, really delicious. But I think that is actually the only 4 we're gonna get, because these ones, they're all really tiny and they're just not gonna ripen in a day. So yeah, over the next time, I've just nipped back in the shed because it's really blowy out there. What was I saying? Yeah, so there is quite a lot of stuff which over the next couple of days we will lose, which means we're gonna have a good couple of beds that need clearing, which is exciting because it means I can get the field beans in, which is thumbs up. I don't know if anybody's doing green manures and stuff over winter this year, but I've done a couple of videos on green manure. Field beans specifically, I have a video of, which I'm going to try and link. I can never remember which side of the screen it is, but it should be up there. It will also be in the notes underneath the show. And I did a cover crops video with Eli and Kate. Which is also an excellent video on all the different things you can use as cover crops. So I'll put the link to that as well underneath. But so that's exciting. That's sort of what we need to get done now, is clear that stuff. So as soon as it gets cold, we will whip out the beans, the leftover cucurbits, all the like tromboncinos and all that kind of stuff. Get that all tidied up. Get some field beans in. We are going to get the garlic in. We've got onions to go in. Yeah, there's actually less beds going to be free over winter this year than there has been previous, because although I've just done a bit of a whiz round of all the stuff that we're about to lose as soon as the temperature drops, we've actually got a lot of stuff going for winter already. And this week, in fact, I might do it today if I've got the seed up here. I asked everybody to remind me to sow the other half of that patch of the chimney wrapper that I sowed, what would it have been now, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? I'm going to do it. Thank you for the reminders in last week's comments. Yes, it was due. No, I hadn't got it on the blackboard, so fantastic. Yeah, so let's just have a quick look at the stuff that we've got growing that's going to continue over winter, because there's actually a considerable amount. The Douce Provence peas that we sowed last week are just starting to make an appearance. You can just see one in there, so that's quite exciting. The rest of this bed, although it's got quite a lot of potatoes in it, because obviously my digging wasn't that comprehensive, this is where we had the red dukes last spring, but we've got some really nice red stem chicory coming up in here. The lucullus that I moved around last week is all looking really strong. All of that took, so that's good. We have the first lot of chimney wrapper that I sowed in this bed. Obviously a lot less of it than there was supposed to be, but they're looking really chunky. We've got some beautiful big stems on there, so they're good to go. The dragon's tongue mustard that is in this bed, I'll just pick off the flowers because unfortunately I've let them go a bit over, but I'll take them down and the rest of that will be good for greens over winter. Chard is good to go in the cold, that's tough as old boots. The sorrel will stay over winter, no problem. We've got aubergines in this bed, actually that's another thing that will be going. Some of these lettuces need to be whipped out, but we've got winter lettuces in that end which will be staying, doing good things. These aubergines were the spares that we couldn't fit in the greenhouse, and they haven't really done anything. It's just been a bit too cold. Although, hang on, sorry, shaky camera, I think I can see an aubergine in there. Hold on a second. Holy schmoly! I hadn't even seen that one start. Oh, it's a beauty. I'm going to take that one home with me today. Selection pack of brassicas in this bed, which obviously stay over winter. We've got purple sprouting broccoli, bit of cavolo nero, parsnips in the end. also good for over winter. Half of this bed will go over to field beans. That's pretty much ready apart from that one chicory in there, but I'm probably going to whip that out. The 2 types of leeks in that end are going strong. More brassicas. Have we ever grown this many brassicas? Red Russian kale, Cavallonero. This is my celeriac, which, I mean, I'm well pleased, but it doesn't look anything as good as what was at Kew, but never mind. Can't compete with Kew, can you? I don't know why I can't get this camera to focus. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's doing something, which is exciting. This is the bed where I have sown half the chimney wrapper, and I'm going to sow the other half this afternoon. We have a different type of sprouting broccoli in that end, also totally winter hardy. End of this bed is perennial herbs, so they'll just stay where they are. We've got white sprouting broccoli in here. God, this looks very moody. Special effects filming through the EnviroMesh. I have nipper leeks under here as well, which we are steadily munching our way through at the moment. The kohlrabi have been got by the birds, but the actual kohlrabi bit itself are still looking good, so we've got quite a few of them to process, and we'll be freezing them for winter. Some beetroot that hasn't been got by badgers. These are the chicory. So chicory, when you harvest it, if you just chop it straight off at the root, you get like a whole nother set of florets, and they should all heart up brilliantly, and they are also winter hardy, so they'll be going strong. Chard again, no issues. Unfortunately, this is where I should have a lovely neat row of spring onions, and next to them was a lovely double row of beetroot. However, there is a mixture of fox and badger paw prints in here, and the whole lot has been churned up. Luckily, that was one of the things that they had at the garden centre the other day. I did pick up some more beetroot, so we will replace what was lost in that bed. That was annoying. Particularly on the spring onions, they were just starting to get their feet. You know what spring onions are like, or like alliums in general? When they germinate, they look so weedy for such a long time, and then they just suddenly start putting on a bit of heft. Well, that's what they were at, just at that stage where they looked like they were about to do something. Alas, les badgers got them. This bed has been assigned to broad beans over the winter. I'm going to use this tomato structure to give them a bit of support. All of this calendula will head off fairly shortly into the mists of memory. And then we'll have 2 more complete beds of field beans up this end. The fruit cage will all be dying back. The raspberry canes will be cut down. The grape needs to be pruned because it's just looking like a massive hairy monster. Chard down this side will be fine for the winter. This is the bog standard Bietta chard, you know, perpetual spinach. Gonna have to get some better netting for my 9-star broccoli, but it is alive. This is what my spring onions in that little bed up there should have looked like. These ones have had their own trauma. Ruby keeps deciding that this is where she wants to kick up the soil looking for worms, so they're, you know, having their own issues. And this, chaps, is my prize Brussels sprout. Alas. What that is, chaps, is an enormous blown spring cabbage. And I've had to put on my big girl pants and accept that is not a Brussels sprout. No. Faith alone will not turn it into a Brussels sprout either, I can tell you, because I tried. No. Little bugger. Cavallonero is all looking good. That is a mighty fine Cavallonero plant, that one there, actually. These are the kalettes. They are all coming along nicely. So all of this stuff is going to be great over winter. We'll be munching our way through this. These are just starting. See the little nubs under there. And then we have the spring cabbages that were actually planted as spring cabbages in this end of the bed. Quick nosy in the greenhouse. I've just got excess chard in here. I don't know what I was thinking. I seem to have planted enough to become a commercial chard grower. I've got all of these ones that I haven't even bothered potting up. This is the coriander. That will be going into the polytunnel quick as. This is my wonderful 3 varieties of lettuce that I grew. 1, 2 and 3. Only 3 things germinated in the pots, and none of them are lettuce. It's all spinach. There's the beetroot. There's the chard that I have potted up. The beautiful pumpkins. This is where Mum has put them to protect them from the frost. That is what I expect a butternut squash to actually look like. All of these guys in here will eventually slow down and stop because of the cold weather. So yeah, quite a lot of stuff that won't be collapsing in the weather, and we should have quite a full garden over winter, which is exciting. Obviously in here most of this stuff is going to go. I'm going to pick a load of peppers today because I don't know how cold it's going to get in the poly and in here. Any of the big tomatoes that I think I might be able to ripen at home, I'm also going to take home, because if it gets to 1 out here, it's going to be blooming cold, even in the polytunnel, and I don't think they're going to like that. At least I've got a chance of ripening at home. I'm a bit sad about that Bulgarian one though. I'll tell you about that when we're in there. Oh yeah, we have got some beauties. We've got some gorgeous long red peppers. We have, these are starting to go, which is well exciting. The first of these are red. Oh, that is the Brazilian starfish. Lots of hot lemons to pick. Black jalapenos. More starfish. Look at the array of orange habs we've got there. Oh God, that's so beautiful. They look like glowing lanterns under there. And some more hot lemon. We also have some of these babies. I think I'll probably take, although that one's ready and that one maybe, I'm going to take all of these off today and we will ripen them at home. Same with some of the ones in that corner. I just don't think they're going to have time to ripen. That's a shame. That's another pork chop. Don't even know if that's big enough really to ripen at home, but I'll take it anyway. As you can see, the plant's really suffering. The sun gold is still going strong. Plenty of those cherries on there. All these ones are splitting. Oh dear, what a shame. I'll just have to eat it. So delicious. There are also some more cherries. So we've got these chaps hanging along here, and there are some garnet in the corner there. I'll leave all the cherries in here actually. I think they will be fine. If they collapse, they collapse. It's not the end of the world. Although, oh yes, oh, I'm so happy. This is the Bulgarian tomato that is the last of its kind. We don't know the variety. I've told you this before. I've been growing this one for years. It was from saved seed and it is a superb tomato. I've grown lots of things that look like it, but nothing that tastes quite like it. We just call it Bulgarian because we got the seed originally from a bloke from Bulgaria who was on our allotment site. He was only here for 1 year. We didn't really get too much information out of him, but this one has been quietly growing away, and you can see it's just starting to turn pink now, which means it will ripen. It's just so exciting because I'm the last one on the site that's got seed for it. There was quite a few of us that had saved them over the years, but then they sort of like peter out or whatever. And this was the last of my seed because we had a complete fail last year. Everything got blight last year for everybody on the site, so we all lost them. This is the last one, and it looks like it's going to ripen. So I will take that home with me today to ripen up and treat like a royal tomato until it's ready for me to take some seed from it. Excellent. Oh, there's also quite a nice looking copper river over there that I'll take home with me. So yeah, I've done you a bit of a whirlwind tour of what is and isn't going to be sticking with us over winter. And I think the last thing that I'm really going to do, so I want to plant the beetroot out today. I want to sow the second half of that chimney wrapper bed, and I'm just going to pick stuff, loads of stuff, which is an exciting thing to do on the last day before frost. Oh, it's actually quite sunny out here now, this weather, I'm telling you. Oh, pants. I've got so much to pick, and I left my, you know, lovely harvesting trug at home. Mum normally carries it. She's not up here with me today, so I just brought my rucksack. And carrying peppers and aubergines home in a rucksack is not as satisfying as having it all laid out in a lovely basket. I know that's completely nonsensical, and you don't grow your vegetables to display them in a basket, but still it's so satisfying when you're picking them. Just like plonk them all out and it's all the different colours. Right, what can we put our stuff in then, girlies, huh? You beautiful girls. Beautiful girls. Yeah. What can we use? Not exactly rustic chic, but I think it'll do. At least nothing's going to get squashed. If I start jamming things into a rucksack all on top of each other, everything's just going to get squashed and damaged. So at least in this one, I can lay it out flat. Yes. Okay, let's do some picking, girly whirlies. You do some picking. Yeah. You know what? Sorry, just a stupid voice. I haven't seen Lily today. I think it's pretty safe to say I'm pretty chuffed with those. It's the first really big, like I say big, that's not huge. Like previous years we would have been doing that amount of peppers every week, but this year it hasn't been like that. So to be able to get, you know, a really good picking of chillies, at least on the last day, I'm a happy rabbit. Now I'm going to pick that whopping secret aubergine. Backwards, so I can't see where you are, but if you can see me, joy. Look at that for a secret aubergine. It was a secret, girlies, it was. Do you see that? Look at that aubergine. Bloody massive for a secret. Well, that is those sowed. Excellent, or sown, I should say. Sown? Sowed. Sown or sowed? Anyway, they're in. And I do have that beetroot to put out. But like I said earlier, Mum isn't here and we have got some discussing to do on where exactly we're going to place the protection boxes. Because the one which is currently on the white sprouting broccoli, the white sprouting broccoli is too tall for it now, and we're thinking of moving that across, and we'll probably move that onto beetroot, turnips and spring onions, of which that is the beetroot. And I don't know which bed, I know we've talked about it, but I can't remember which bed we decided on. And I don't want to plant the beetroot and then be like, oh pants, I put it in the wrong spot and have to rip it out again, because that's not fair on the beetroot. So I'm not going to do that, but I'm pretty happy with my pickings today. I am going to take a load of dahlias home with me today. I'm going to basically pick off all the good flowers and just take a huge bunch home with me. If by some strange chance we don't get that frost that they are predicting and they carry on, they'll just carry on and produce more flowers, so it's not going to be taking anything away from them. So I'm going to do that. What else was I going to do? Oh, well, there was a couple of those French beans, wasn't there, green and purple, that I wanted to take. I'm actually not going to bother with the shorties. You know, I said Mum was a bit creeped out by the shape of them, and they're such a pest to pick. You know, I'd forgotten the reason that we went solely to climbing French beans, and well, basically all beans being climbers, is because picking them, I just find it really not an enjoyable experience. So yeah, I'm actually just going to leave them. I know it seems like a bit of a waste because there is still quite a lot of beans on there, but they've kind of gone past it and they're a pain. And I don't crouch down very well at the moment. Much better at reaching up. So I think they're probably just going to, that's the end of them now, and we will leave them. They'll go in the compost bin. It's fine. As long as things are going in the compost bin, it's not a waste. And I'll pick the long ones. What else was I going to do? Oh yeah, I've got to take those butternut squash and get them into the greenhouse. And then, chaps, I think that's about it. That was going to do up today. It's got about 10 minutes ago we had big black cloud blow over, and I was like, here we go, time to run. It's gone now. It's back to being, you know, patchy blue, so who knows. But I will be back up here tomorrow with Mum. And hopefully we're going to get a bit of respite from the rain again tomorrow. It's meant to start raining again this afternoon and then stick overnight. And then, yeah, the afternoon should be good. So I'm going to go and pick those butternut squash. I'm going to go and pick the flowers, and I will see you here tomorrow. Hopefully, if it's not too wet.
Is there some beautiful girls over there? Is there? Hello? Hello, Gorge. Hello. Are you super slinks?
No, shock horror, it's not Lily. We don't know who this cat is, but he's been around a lot recently. I think he comes from the flats over there. But yeah, Slinky. No, you're gonna have to close the thing. She's not gonna listen to you just saying stay there. Oh, that's so nice. I was thinking I'd made a terrible error with my lack of coat and hat. Oh, long live the sunshine, don't go away.
Billy! Sausage! He's gone. It's all right, darling. He's gone. He's gone.
Oh, no, maybe not. Oh yeah, there he is. There he is. Good morning. We are back, or I'm back, and Mum is with me this time, so we're going to make a decision on that beetroot, or at least try and remember the decision that we already made about the beetroot. I know it involved moving protection cages around, but anyway, she's here so I can consult. I tell you what, the sun has just come out. We were walking up here, it was grey, and I was starting to think that I'd made some very serious clothing error, because you know last week I was saying that Mum is always cold, and then it's just the sun. So I've said that she's always cold, and then next thing I'm there rugged up in a cardigan and she's got a little red vest top on. Anyway, she did it to disprove me, I'm sure. Anyway, today she is fully rugged up. She has got the winter coat on and the hat, and I was thinking I'd come severely underdressed, but now the sun has come out. Oh, it's beautiful. It is beautiful.
Chaps in.
Right, these are the little beetroot that are not sown by me. These are the ones which we picked up at Hilliers when we were out looking for garlic last week. I'm going to plant them in clumps in this bed here, which is where we had the spring onions direct sown and another set of beetroot that I'd already planted out that I had sown myself, but it's been completely churned up by the badgers. There's a couple of beetroot still in situ that haven't really done anything yet, so I'm going to kind of dot these around it and make a larger beetroot patch. And then in an effort to stop it getting redug up once we put these in, I'm going to move, you can just see the corner of it just there, we have an EnviroMesh box that's currently over some white sprouting broccoli for next year it's got too tall for the box, so we're going to move that box onto where I'm planting these out. Also going to sow some more spring onions under there and some turnips, maybe a bit of green wave mustard, and see if we can get something growing, because the EnviroMesh box does actually provide quite a lot of protection over the winter, but we will see. The main protection is going to be for the beetroot. We currently have a big Verbena bonariensis self-sown right in the middle of the bed that I'm going to whip out first. has. It's beautiful temperature now.
I'm sure I put a chilli in one of these pots yesterday. Oh, there it is.
What kind of chilli was it? The little green one? Well, it is absolutely magnificent up here right now. Seems unbelievable we're possibly going to get a frost tonight. I mean, our first frost date isn't supposed to be until the 11th of November, so who knows, but that's what they're predicting. Hey, that Lil? He's gone now, he has, yeah, he's totally gone. He has, yes, sausage. I know. Bloomin' intruders, hey? Hey, girlies, you don't like him either, do you? No! Girlies don't like that other pussycat.
Oh, stop it! I'm trying to give her some. It's all on the ground now. Right.
Okay, the sun has gone in and we've got the 2 jobs we wanted to do done, and the temperature is dropping. I'm back to thinking that I should have brought a coat with me. Tonight is the night that it drops to about 4 supposedly, and then tomorrow night possibly down to 1 or 2. Trares cold. So I'm saying goodbye to the dahlias, I'm saying goodbye to the courgettes. I think this is probably the last time I'll be seeing them in a non-mush state. So I suspect next week, chaps, we're going to be doing quite a lot of clear up. Ready to go? Let's go.
See you later, whirligigs. See you later, whirlies. See you later.
Well, chaps, I don't know about frost, but it is certainly a lot colder than it has been in a very long time. In fact, Mum is currently downstairs lighting the wood-burning stove. First time since, God, must probably be about February, March was the last time we had it on. It's not a proper cheers, I'm afraid, but it's morning, and again, I'm not falling into that game, because, nah. Anyway, this has got to be incredibly quick, because I don't know how it's happened, but once again, we have a really long video. I apologise. There's just 2 things. Firstly, I really am interested if anybody has successfully grown basil outdoors. I mean, mainly in the UK, like South UK or something, somewhere sort of vaguely near me, if anybody has successfully done that. Because, I mean, if I could get that to go, if it was anything like it was at Kew, which was just like mounding, wonderful, pillowing basil joy, that would be wonderful. So if you think it's a go, or if you've tried it and it's been a complete fail, also let me know that. You can save me. And the second thing is, when I was going around those dahlias, I haven't looked up what those varieties are that I've already got in there, but obviously there's only really 2 that I want to keep for sure. Not the pink ones that are down by the swing seat, because we've had them for a long time. But I'm looking for 6 varieties, 6 more varieties that make excellent cut flour. So if anybody's got any particular favourites that they've found have been superb, drop them underneath. So basil life stories and dahlia recommendations, and it's not much of a cheers, but I'll cheers you anyway. Firstly, as always, it is a cheers to the people who keep this vlog going week in, week out. My Patreon supporters, thank you so much, guys. You're just unbelievable. And thank you to everybody who watches every single week, and I will see you next week. Yes, I do have 2 jumpers on. Yes, it's cold in the house.